We talked to 200 people in 53 different villages across 3 regions, and in all of those places we got the same answer. And the answer was, if you want food aid, if you want micro loans, if you want fertilizer or seeds, go and ask your own political party, don't ask us. The ruling party has fought for this assistance, and it's for its own. And it's not conclusive, it's only those 200 villages, but it suggests that this is a considerable problem which aid agencies are not taking seriously enough.
So in order to get the aid that international donors are supplying to the Ethiopian government, to the ruling party, you have to support that ruling party?
Yes, that's the picture that we saw in the places we went. Now, that doesn't mean that it's happening everywhere, but it suggests that it's a considerable problem, and it's not okay for donors to say that the situation's under control and that they're not worried about it. They should be very worried about it, and they should be doing much more.
Now, these accusations aren't new, though, are they? Human Rights Watch has made them before.
We touched on this in the run-up to the elections in May of this year, and humanitarian aid organisations have been talking about this in the distribution of emergency food aid for many years. But what's new here is that, in fact, we've documented it in different regions across the country, and we're talking about development assistance. We're talking about budget support that comes to the government, and then they're spending it in the villages according to their own political priorities, discriminating against people that don't support them. So this is endemic, it's chronic, it's about the way that the regime operates.
Now, presumably you've given the Ethiopian government right to reply. What did they say?
We met with Prime Minister Meles Zenawi at the end of our research last year, and he said that it wasn't happening, and if it was happening, he would take steps and he would discipline members of his party who were discriminating in this way. We wrote to the government, we laid out our evidence, we didn't receive a reply, and we've written to them again with the final report, and we're hoping to meet with them soon. So we're not satisfied with the way that the Ethiopian government's responded. So we're not claiming that this is conclusive, but we're saying it's suggestive of a very serious problem.
So what's the solution?
There's a number of things that should happen. I think that donors should be much more robust about asking for the right to independently monitor where their taxpayers' money is being spent. They should act together and demand an independent international investigation into the politicization of aid in Ethiopia. They should also ask for NGOs to be allowed to operate. There's been a very repressive NGO law in Ethiopia that's practically banned independent human rights work in Ethiopia. Now, if independent NGOs were allowed to work, civil society was allowed to play its role, and international NGOs were allowed to distribute directly to Ethiopian citizens, then you would cut out the pernicious role that the state is playing at the moment, and there would be no, you would eliminate the risk of that politicization.
And what kind of reception did you receive when you were on the ground in Ethiopia, several trips, making this investigation?
People were very, very scared about talking to me. They would only do so in safe houses, places far from their villages, from their homes. And eventually, when the Ethiopian government caught up with me, I was deported when I was trying to interview farmers who said that they were denied the chance to participate in a food for work program because they were starving, and they were trying to talk to me to tell me their story, and I was deported and they were jailed. So I think that tells you something about the sensitivity of these allegations.
Have you been able to check on their whereabouts and their welfare now?
They were released, and I heard that one of them has subsequently been allowed to participate in a food for work program. So in some respects that's progress.